Anahi Brown is an empowerment consultant and coach who believes everyone deserves pleasure, purpose, and joy, and supports her clients in defining life on their own terms, enabling them to accomplish and be all they want to be, regardless of who they are, where they live, their size, or beliefs. And she does this through her holistic nourishment approach. Welcome to the show, Anahi.
Thank you so much. It is such a pleasure.
I know. It's actually very, very exciting. I haven't been able to touch you and hug you since I left Joho like 3 years ago, and it's so good to be able to see you here and connect. Let's talk about, the stresses of modern day life. So one of them is this globalization, this mix of identities, where do I belong and who am I and how should I show up in the world? And then, as you mentioned, there's this hyper connectivity where we can jump on a Facebook Live and talk to you in Qatar, and you can be with me in Brisbane, and we can share our worlds, but we can't physically touch and hug and have that natural, physical connection that human beings really crave. So considering all of that, the expat lives, the blending of cultures, the hyperconnectivity, but the loneliness, what do you say are some of the unique stresses that we experience in the modern day world?
Well, I think that to begin with, we do need touch, and it's something biological. We needed to connect, but also we needed to inform our bodies who our tribe is. And something, I think that one of the saddest things that's happening in today's world is that we don't touch enough, even in schools. I used to be coddled by my teacher, which I'm very grateful that Matthew is coddled by his teacher. But we need to remember that when we touch, we're not just starting some hormonal pathways for oxytocin and feeling connected, but we're also passing by microbiomes from one to the other. We're getting a richer support system and immunological support, right? We don't have that anymore. I think that another stressor, massive stressor that we have today is that social media makes it very easy for us to be fake. Not because we want to, not because you sit in your computer and you say, I'm just going to post a photo of me talking my tummy, but because the competition is so high, the bar is so high, and it's because social media and mass media are doing this.
Your perspective as a women's empowerment and nourishment coach and consultant, what are some of the illnesses that you're seeing are more prevalent, and what are some of the success strategies that you would recommend for people?
The first thing that I see all the time is depression. Depression masquerades as many things, but depression nonetheless. I am shocked at the amount of women and men, but I focus on women mostly, right? That are experiencing extreme fatigue symptoms, that are depressed, that are suffering from thyroid problems also, that are having fertility issues, all of these things, and we just keep adding pills. We just put in patches, and we're not talking about it. To me, depression is the most complex one, because I believe that it's a root, and at the same time, it's a symptom. So when you are depressed, everything else that you see that you're physically feeling can be disregarded because, what do I know? Or I don't belong, I don't deserve to get help for this and for that. So you go for years with untreated issues that you just say, it's just me because you are in a state of depression. You are so exhausted and so drained that you cannot move forward. And so you wait 5 years to go for a checkup instead of 1, even though you have been in pain for maybe months or years or decades, But also I think that, and this is not a physical disease, but it's a social disease, is that we have a bunch of women and men walking around the planet completely purposeless. So we wake up, we are in this, like a hamster, you know, we wake up, we check our phone. So we see that sets the mood. You know, we open our eyes and we see the phone. And if the whatever is waiting for us there is good, then we might have an okay day. Otherwise, we just keep numbing, right? So we're numbing all the time. And then we say, no, okay, I have to get to work. And then you go to a work that you probably don't like, but you have to have it because there's a bunch of shoots and half. And so you go to work, you feel like shit. You are probably constipated for the last 5 years, but it's okay, it's normal. You don't sleep well, it's normal. You don't talk to your spouse or your partner or your friends, it's normal. And then you come home again and you switch on the TV or you get on the iPad and then you go to bed. So we are completely numbed out. And I think that one of the things that I notice a lot is that then when there's a little bit of pain, and life will have pain. We need pain. Pain is not bad, right? But then when there's a little bit of pain, we just numb it. But there's a moment that we numb everything. So we do numb the sadness that we feel because of a breakup or because our marriages are empty or because we just feel sad. But then we also numb the joy that we could experience when we are witnessing someone else's journey along with us and we see the beauty of their growth. We are also numbing, our dreams. We are also numbing our voices. So the amount of chaos that I see right now, morally and politically and socially in the world, in part is because we are so numb. And numb is another name for depressed. We are exhausted, especially women. We are undernourished, underslept, overworked, exhausted. And then on top of that physicality of that, when we take our phones out or when we take a magazine out, we are facing these images of other women that look like they had their shit together and they look so pretty. And we're like, well, I'm a big fat failure. Why don't I even bother? I'm just gonna go have a drink, or I'm just gonna go, online shopping, or I'm just gonna go and sleep because I can't keep on failing in every single level of my life, So it is sad, and it is. I think that we were talking about the antidote, how to do it. So to begin with is doing the inner work. It's daring to say, this is hard, and this is going to be very hard, and this is going to be being hard for a while, and I can do it. And I can do this because we forget how resilient we are. We evolve, like whether you believe in the creation of how we became to be in the planet, or you believe in evolution, we are the best of the best. If God created us, he created us perfect. He didn't create us all flawed. Why would you create something that is all rubbish? You put it in the bin and start over. And if you believe in evolution, how are we going to evolve if we are like, I'm sorry, I need my omeprazole. I'm sorry, I need my Tums. I'm sorry, I need my laxative. People didn't have that, and we got here. So when you think of that, you're automatically, you have to say, why am I not living up to that? And I'm not saying go to the gym 24 hours so that you can be a skinny, supermodel. But I'm saying, why am I not living my own version of the best of the best? Why am I the way why am I unfulfilled? Like whenever, and like right now you ask me and I'm exhausted, but I can tell you why. It's not that I don't know. I'm exhausted because I went to bed at 12. I woke up at 5, I'm exhausted because I've been working really hard to launch this new program that I'm launching. So I'm tired. That makes sense. But how many women do you know that you ask them, how are you? And they're like, this is my 15th cup of coffee. And we embrace it. We make jokes about it. And I'm like, no. Let's not laugh at this because this is important. Why are you tired all the time? Why are we short-tempered all the time? Why aren't we enjoying our lives? How come? And this is something that it is very important, especially because I work with a lot of moms, is to say motherhood is not enjoyable all the time, but you have to have enough joy to get you through it. When people imagine me as a mother, sometimes they have this conception that I'm this mothering creature crafting with my babies and holding them. I'm not that. I hate playing with them. I find them very boring. Matthew is getting a little bit more interesting because he's almost 5 and he can talk and ask me nice questions. The other one, Mikey, is cute, but he's boring. I don't get any interaction there. It's like, Dada, mama. Maybe he'll say a couple of funny things, I'll laugh, and then that's it. I need to go do my thing. I'm not a 24/7 mom. And that's okay, that's okay for me. Because the moment that I said, I am hating this 24/7 motherhood thing. I am hating it. And I wonder, why am I doing it? Things shift. Because for the first time, I said, I'm going to stop pretending to be this hippie, crunchy, you know, baking, crafting person that I'm not. And I'm going to start being who I am. And I think that's the other antidote. So the first thing is nourishment. We all need nourishment. So are you eating to thrive? Are you sleeping to thrive? Are you moving to thrive? Are you taking all those pieces, or are you so busy pretending that you don't even know what you like? How many times do you ask a friend, what is your favorite food, or what you enjoy drinking, or what you enjoy doing? And they're like, well, I don't know. I have clients that I ask them, what do you like to eat? Because when we work on their meal plan, I want them to have things that they actually are going to enjoy eating. I don't want them eating something that they hate, right? And they're like, well, I don't know. I've been eating, you know, grilled chicken breast and salad for so long that I forgot. I'm like, okay, so let's start there. You know, let's start there. Because I can tell you what I like to eat. I can tell you, I can tell you I like foods that have different contrasts. I like crunchy and soggy. Don't give me pure sogginess because I don't like it, which is why I only eat gnocchis when they're really nicely made. Otherwise, they're too bleh, and I don't like them. I don't like candy. I don't like gum. You know, I can tell you because I have done the homework, and that is what everyone has to do. You need to do the homework. You need to reclaim this. This is not just take this pill and go to sleep. I mean, I wish it was. That would be amazing. That would make our life so easy, right? But we are
to have a good life, to have, absolutely. And now so more than ever, because we aren't living in a natural world, we're living in a hyper distracted world. So distracted from our own amazingness, distracted from our own intuition, distracted from the fact that we can live naturally, very vibrantly. And the reason we're distracted from that is because commercialization wants us to be distracted from how awesome we already are, because then we can be manipulated to buy because we don't think we're good enough, rather than saying, you know what, you're already awesome. How can I sell you something? I can't. I have to touch your pain points. I have to amplify them. I have to point out that you're just not making the grade as a mom, as a woman, as a business owner, as a human, because everything looks so good out there. No, that's not reality. And if we were to truly connect with how awesome we are and how resourceful we are and how perfectly messy we are, then it would be very difficult to sell us a product, a service, a thing, the next latest, greatest, save you, make you look better kind of thing. Exactly. So you touched on a couple of things. One is that physical nourishment. One is that, which is through food, also through touch, and then reconnecting with yourself and doing the work that is required to reclaim and put a plan in that you can become the most vibrant version of yourself. So what do you take your clients through? So you're taking them from distressed, depressed, distracted through to the best version of themselves. What's the process?
Yes. So normally we have an intake session where I just want to, because people might think they know what they want at the beginning or what they want to show me, because that's the other part. Sometimes they send me an email and they're like, this is what I want you to fix. So when we meet the first time, I just want to really get to know them. So we have a questionnaire, we go through it. And then I tell them, okay, so I divide our nourishment in 6 areas. So you have body, mind, relationships, emotions, purpose and meaning, and resources. So from those 6, you have to choose which area you're going to focus on. And normally they choose 2 or 3. And then from there, we start doing it. And I said, I get a lot of people. In Qatar, I'm more known for my paleo keto approach to food, right? So, and I always tell them, yes, I can coach you into a ketogenic diet if that's what you want, but you need to know that I am not a nutritionist and I am not just a nutrition consultant. I am not just going to give you a list of things that you can and cannot eat and at the end of the week say, congratulations, you lost 5 kilos. That's not me. I am going to push you because food particularly has massive emotional implications. So I'm going to mess with your mind and you need to be comfortable with that, because I'm going to ask you things like, why? And this is something that actually came from a beautiful, soulful conversation that I had with a friend who has multiple sclerosis. And we were talking about what she was doing to keep her MS in remission, and what I was doing to keep my Hashimoto's in remission. So we were just, comparing notes, and I take this, and at this time it helps me. And I was like, well, now I'm adding this to the food, and I noticed that it, like that. And she said, but the most important thing is that now I wonder, why do I want to heal? And that question opened a whole universe to me, because that's one of the questions that I ask my clients. Why do you want the life that you crave? Because if you want the life that you crave because you feel that you need to tick the box, I'm not your coach. Now, if you want the life that you crave because you want to take your game to the next level and serve and reach that purpose that you have from a place of complete empowerment, I am your coach.
Right.
So
Beautiful.
My anchor,
right.
and I use I can't remember the name of the guy. It's a process called 7 layers deep. So I will ask you why 7 times, and I will just keep tweaking with it until we get to the root, And
7 times asking
and this
why.
Yeah. So you go 7 layers deep. So for example, Mary comes and says, I want to lose 10 kilos. Fine, fair enough. Why? Well, I have 2 kids and I'm very tired. And when I try to play with them, I feel that I'm like all over the place. Okay. Why? Why do you want to play with them? Well, I have really fond memories of my mother playing with me, and I want them to have those memories. Okay. Why do you want them to have those memories? Well, because, I feel that otherwise they're going to feel really lonely, and they might be bullied, or they might become bullies. Okay. Why do you care that they might be bullied or might become bullies? Well, because, I was bullied in school and I suffer a lot, and my mom sometimes wasn't there. Okay, why? So you keep going until, and then you're going to get a real core belief. And the core belief 99.9% of the time is about worth. And it's about, I am not worthy. What word or the other is going to be, I'm not worthy. And I want to feel worthy. We do things because we want worth. We want to earn our right to be here, especially for women. We are constantly trying to prove that we deserve anything. How many
So we
of
work
us,
harder, we try harder, we want to be more beautiful, we want more clothes.
We're good girls.
We strive more, right? We please more, we be less, or we be more because we're trying to validate that it's okay for us to be here.
I'm going to give you an example. This webinar that I did last week, right? No, this week. I did this week. I'm doing one next week again. I didn't have to. I choose to hire people to support me with the technological part that I have no minus 25 interest in learning, right? And that costs money. Money doesn't grow on trees. So I touch my bank account and the family bank account sometimes move like that. Most of the time they're separated, but sometimes move like that. And in the process, I touch some of the money. And I felt this need to justify myself. I felt the need to tell my husband, you know what, I use $200, but wait, before you say anything, this is what I'm gonna use it for. I use it for this, for that, and my husband is like, I don't care, this is your business. We are investing in your business. You do what you have to do. But I already have that reflex. I go to the supermarket and I see a nice body wash, and after I read the ingredients and make sure that I'm not putting poison on my skin, I check the price, and is that whole, am I worth it? Can I? And it's not because we cannot afford it. Alhamdulillah, thank God we can. But it's because I still am battling with this sense of worthiness, When as women, we are, even from another example, because everything goes back to worth. When as women, we are attacked by compliments that are really not what we want, or we receive messages saying, oh, sexy mommy or whatever, and we don't speak up, we are saying, I am not worthy of defending myself. As a woman, I need to keep quiet and look to the side, because then my aggressor will leave. So one of the things that we do when we are reclaiming ourselves, when we are doing this process of saying, no, I get to defend myself, is to start speaking up. And speaking up it starts with, I'm going to speak up and I'm going to order in the restaurant what I want to eat. Even if I haven't eaten in 25 years because I've been dieting, this is what I like. Speaking up and reclaiming is saying, I hate broccoli and I'm not eating broccoli ever again. Or I love mashed potato, and once a week I'm going to have a big bowl of mashed potato with butter and cream,
Oh my gosh,
or,
now I want mashed potato.
There we go. Or I am going to go to bed at 7:30 and I don't care what happens. Today I'm going to bed at 7:30, or I am going to invest in my education. When we start, and a friend told me something really special about here, Qatar, right? We went to see this movie and I got very pissed off about one of the comments that they were made, and it was a feminist movie. And then I was like I wanted to shout. And then I said something, I lift my hands and I said something like, we need to tell our story, and I was very passionate. And my friend said, you know what, you think that they are not paying attention to you, but the reality is that sometimes revolutions start with whispers. And that's how our journey from undernourished and empty and broken towards fullness starts. It starts with a whisper. It starts with us centering ourselves and saying, how can I nourish you today? How can I serve you? What do you need? And sometimes the what do you need is space. That's going to be the first. The first whisper is just space or peace. And then as we listen to it and we nourish it, the voice starts to go strong and strong and stronger until there's a moment where the world bashes you and you're like, oh, hell no, you're Wonder Woman all over the place. And you're like, no, this is my space and I own it and I have a right to be here and I will take as much space as I flipping want to, and you will take it because this is my right. But we don't go from small and quiet to blah. We go from small and quiet to, and we start to embody ourselves fully when we do it every day. And that is the beauty.
What happens when a woman does that? What happens when a woman finds her voice and owns her space? What happens then?
I think two things happen. One, she's unstoppable. And two, she feels a need to tell all her sister women to do the same. And that's what happened to me. So the first thing that happened to me was that I was allowing myself for the first time to say the things that I thought nobody could hear without judging me and saying, I don't care if they judge me, this is my truth. And the other one is to say, this is so good that I need to share it with every woman I know. And I cannot keep quiet because you don't care.
And what happens to their health and their impact on the world when they get to that point?
Well, in terms of health, automatically your stress levels are going to start lowering because you are not constantly shushing yourself. So you stop attacking yourself, your cortisol goes down, and all the other systems start to work better. But also because you are prioritizing on you feel stronger, you feel more alive, you have energy, all of these things. And then on top of that, you begin to speak up on things that matter to you. And we all have a strong moral compass. Not everybody was born to be Malala or Mother Teresa, but in our own way, we can all create a big dent on the world. And the dent starts to be stronger, and you start to see changes happening, and you start to see groups of women joining hands to support maybe disadvantaged populations, or you start to see mothers getting together to solve problems that are important for them. Because the problem is that the biggest issue that we have is that we always have an external savior, right? We have this paradigm that someone from outside has to come and rescue us. And it's not just for women, it's third world countries, it happens. We always are, which is why we love going to the doctor, because it's a expert, it's going to tell me how to fix me, right? But when a woman is empowered like that, she is her own expert and she knows what to do. And that you start to see these beautiful NGOs working around problems that you didn't even know existed because they are more empowered and they're like, I see a problem here. And you start to see compassionate and conscious companies flourishing. And that is, to me, that is the most important thing, is that the capitalism isn't working the way it is set right now. I am not anti-capitalism at all. I know that it exists for a reason and we need it. But I do see the importance of more and more nourished female entrepreneurs saying, I can find a solution for that. I can do that. And coming up with little things, because we don't need more big corporations. What we need is smaller businesses serving each other and creating a synergy there that will transform the world, because we will be able to vote with our money and we will be able to push the needle as we wanted it. So it's all related. And you were saying before that, sorry, you were saying before that the media keeps, like the pharma, big pharma, has us all, you know, selling, and the media have selling it. And when people ask me why are you a feminist, I say, because it's the only way to sustain the planet. Women are too busy poking at each other, injecting their faces, poisoning their bodies, undersleeping, and just purely deprived of life for the goodness of the planet. We need to wake up, because the change is in our hands. If we want, you know, if we want to stop organizations from destroying the environment, or supporting, you know, illegal factories where children are working, or, we need more of us awake saying no. So when you are, I call it holistic feminism. When you're a holistic feminist, what you're saying is that I am taking care of humanity. This goes beyond whether I can take contraception or not. This is humanity here. This is supporting the world in having a future that is rich and beautiful, not only for our children, but because all the species that we are destroying. When women are empowered and nourished, they are thoughtful leaders. They change the game. And that's what we need right now.
So in essence, what we're saying is, to be successful under stress, it really begins with something as simple as taking care of your own nourishment needs on a physical, spiritual, and even a food perspective, listening to that little voice and starting to listen to it more, and starting to speak up, and having the courage to own your own space. And as a result, it's less stress, because you're not trying to meet others' expectations of who you should be and how your life should be and what you should be doing in the world. And through that whole process of each and every one of us owning that self-nourishment, will be more successful on a global scale. So being more successful under stress is, first of all, reducing the stress by addressing the self-nourishment needs. And then this global, more holistic, worldwide implication of women waking up, being nourished, being empowered, and making a change on a whole humanity level. It's quite amazing.
Yeah. And I think that that's the only way to go.
And so one of your role then as a nourishment coach and women's empowerment and nourishment coach and consultant is to help the women at that individual level. How can they get in contact with you? How can they find out more about what you offer?
Well, individual and group. Now I'm launching on the 1st of May my first ever group coaching program, which is going to be a boot camp. And it's basically about that. It's about reclaiming the 6 areas and how can we fuel our greatness, right? So if anybody is interested, apart from obviously going to my website and registering for my mailing list, they can check me out on Facebook and on Instagram. And on both of those platforms, they will have links for my free webinar next week. It's going to be on the 24th of April, next Tuesday, so 1 week from today, at 7:30 p.m. Qatar time. And it's going to be free, and it's going to be basically going into this and trying to find simple strategies to start our journey back to wholeness on our own terms. So yeah, very exciting.
Fantastic. And after that, will there be more things rolled out throughout the year?
Yes, this is I'm just dipping my feet on the whole online business world. But I am beginning to realize that the amount of people that I can help sitting in my office is small in comparison to the amount of people that I could touch by broadcasting. So that's going to be more of what's happening. So yeah, we have a new website rolling soon in the next month. We have this program, and God knows, many more things.
Ooh, it's very exciting. It's very exciting. So what is the website address where they can get access to you and get on the mailing list and know everything that's coming up?
AnahiBrown.com. And then Instagram at Wellness by Anahi, Facebook at Wellness by Anahi. And yeah, in the Instagram, the link is already posted for the webinar. And once you register there, basically you're going to be part of my gang, and you're going to be receiving information about everything that I believe in.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being a guest on the Hot and Healthy Show. It's been a pleasure to interview you. Love what you've been doing. I love the fact that you and I have been able to connect for so many years. It's been awesome. And thank you so much for what you're doing in the world.
Thank you so much, Nicole.
If you like this episode, make sure you hit the subscribe button and go and check out all our other videos. I'll see you in the next one.